be an animal show, not a bird show. Is that okay? Yeah, we usually fly birds out here, and we are going to fly some birds for you guys at the beginning. And then at the end, we've got a little something that's in some training that I think you guys might like to see. So if you want to stay around with us for that, you're more than welcome to. We're going to obviously fly some birds at the beginning for you guys. Now, thank you very much for joining us at the zoo today. It's really nice to see so many of you supporting us at this tough time. And thank you for being really patient with all our very crazy protocols that we have in place to keep you guys safe. To keep you safe in this demonstration, we ask you to stay seated, mainly so you don't pop yourself into the flight path of any of the birds. But more importantly, if you need to leave in today's demonstration, please raise your hand. Do not get up and walk away. So just raise your hand, we'll stop the show, move the birds, and move people out of your way so you can leave safely. Make sure you don't break any social distancing rules. But apart from that, all we ask is that you hide your food, because we are going to fly some parrots for a while, and they will pinch anything that you have on you. Lovely. Now, we are going to be flying something very, very big and scary for you guys, so bear with me. I'm going to put a big leather glove on. We're going to introduce you to the biggest, the scariest. Yeah, he's not really. Look behind you. Aww. His name is Gus. Gus. Yeah, really scary. And he is an African species of owl called a white-faced owl. So big and scary. And Gus here is wonderful. He was born here at Banham Zoo. His mum and dad live here at the zoo. And Gus has been with us since he was an egg. Yeah, because when his mum and dad laid, well, when his mum laid the egg, dad didn't do that. When mum laid an egg, they decided not to incubate the egg. They decided not to sit on it, and they decided they didn't want to look after it. So what we did is we took the egg and we popped it in an incubator and out-hatched tiny little Gus here. Isn't he wonderful? Let's see if we can get a low fly over here. Now he's very, very little, and he does like to sit amongst people, so if he does come and sit right next to you, it's really important that you don't try and touch him. Obviously he's not very dangerous, so you can see that he's rather tiny, and that myself and Andy are going to be hand feeding him. But out in Africa, he's really, really dangerous if you're a moth, or a bug, or a worm. Yeah, that's all he likes to eat, is bugs and insects, but as you can see, he's not very scary at all. But we've got these leather gloves on. Everyone thinks that that's why we have these leather gloves on. But actually, we actually just use that for him to sort of see where we want him to land. But as you can see, he's very easily distracted. So that's okay. He's still in the learning stages, and we don't want to sort of rush him at all. He's just got to take in his surroundings and learn what he's doing. Yeah. So one thing you'll see up close is that he's got huge orange eyes, and that tells us that this owl is what we class as a crepuscular hunter. It's a very big word, but it means he likes to hunt at dawn and dusk. So he's not a nocturnal owl, he's not a diurnal owl, so he doesn't count during the daytime. This is an owl that hunts at sunrise and sunset. And that's because that's the most easiest sort of time of day for this kind of owl to find his prey, which is bugs and insects. So that's the best place for him. Best timing for him to go ahead. Oh Gus, you can do it! Oh, good job. Now these flights that he's doing out here might not look that amazing, but he's so tiny, it's like running a marathon. Yeah, all these little flights he's doing, he's building up his muscle. And Gus is very new to the outdoor shows. So Gus is usually flown in our indoor theatre for our amazing animals display. But we decided, since we can't do our amazing since we couldn't do our amazing animals display at the moment, due to it being in an indoor theatre, we thought we would bring him out. We thought you guys might like to see him. But he had to learn lots of things coming outside. Gus had to learn all the things from what clouds were in the sky, to wind blowing in the trees. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't understand social distancing. Luckily, no one minds when it's Gus, do they? And he's learned a lot since he's been coming outside, and we're really, really proud of him. Makes quite silly noises, doesn't it? Sounds like he's meowing, that's him communicating. In the wild, he'd communicate with his mum for the first few weeks of life, and he'd be talking to mum saying, "Mum, can I have some dinner please?" And mum would come along and feed him. Now that worked very well for Gus. He made that noise, we came along and we fed him. The one thing is, in the wild, his mum would kick him out from a very young age and he'd have to fend for himself. Here at Banham Zoo, he still lives with us. So he still calls, he still talks to everybody, and as you can see, he likes to make friends. But he's doing great, let's bring him to help. You can do it, Gus. You can see he thinks about things, he contemplates life before taking off. Let's see if we can get him to do a marathon flight, shall we? All the way to Andy. Now, this is going to be asking quite a lot. He's going to do a little wave between you guys. I wonder. I think. That's a goal, Gus. Well done. Let's see. Can he do it? If he does this, I might even give him a round of applause myself. Yeah, easily distracted. He's easily distracted by anything that moves, as you can see. Right, yeah. He's over there. You can do it, Gus. Everyone's like holding their breath. Can he do it? Whoa! Amazing. I'm proud of him. That's so fun. He's doing a fantastic job and he's really getting to grips with this flying malarkey. And he's putting in lots of effort here at the zoo. But I'd say let's bring him down the front for one last little, if he can see me. If not, he might follow Andy back up the top. Gus! Gus! He's looking up. Follow his up. Oh, don't, right. Don't do that. There's a gull above our heads. Now to Gus, a gull is terrifying because he's so small, weighing in at just 180 grams. This little Gus. A gull is very big and very scary. And he's had to learn that these are the birds in the sky, mean no harm to him. And the first time he saw a pigeon, you should have seen him. It's fantastic. One of their nicknames is the Transformer Owl because of the way they change their feathers to defend themselves. So when he's scared of something big, he tucks all his feathers in and makes himself really small. If he's scared of something small, he makes himself big by puffing all his feathers out, making himself look as big as possible. So they actually change the way they look depending on what they're afraid of. It's quite fun. But there we go, he's going to do a nice little fly. All the way up there. What a little legend. And then he'll hopefully walk into someone. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Gus, our northern white-faced owl. Wow. Absolutely incredible. I'm very proud of him flying here at the zoo. Now bear with us, I'm going to wash my hands actually because the next set of birds we're going to fly are not meat eaters but cereal and grain crop eaters and fruit eaters, so make sure our hands are nice and clean. Now you guys are lucky the sun has come out for your demonstration here this afternoon, but it has been on and off a little bit dull here at the zoo today. And one of the things we like to do here at Banham Zoo is brighten everybody's days up. And we can do that using some of our amazing birds that we fly here at the zoo. So we're going to introduce you to two different sets of birds, both very closely related, but also both very different from one another. They're both members of the parrot family. And in the wild there are over 350 different species of parrots. And what we're going to introduce you to is probably two of the most opposite species that we could find. We're going to introduce you first of all, you'll probably hear them before you see them, two of the largest species of parrot in the world. Now there's 17 species of macaw in the world and they are the largest of the parrot family. Have a little listen because you normally hear them before they actually arrive on the arena because there's something about parrots that comes along with very noisy animals. Parrots tend to be very, very loud and that's generally because they live in forests where it's very dense with trees and one of the things they like to do is to be known. So you have to hear them before you see them. And you normally hear people screaming because they've just flown over their heads. There they are! Right, some people in the pathway behind you just had a fright of their life as the macaws came out of their aviary. This is Peanuts and Coco, our blue and yellow macaws. Like I said, one of 17 species of macaws out there in the wild. And these ones are found in the rainforest of Brazil. In the rainforest there, it's a very dark place because the trees are very tightly packed together. So being tightly covered means that you're easily noticeable. Hello? Can I help you? These two, on the other hand, are very common birds. In fact, one of the most common species of parrot in the world. Found in Australia, this is candy and floss. And candy and floss, I know, right? Candy and floss are galahs. And galahs are a species found out there in Australia. There you go. And they're going to go fly around with Andy today. Now these two sets of parrots, they've all got lots of similarities. Being part of the parrot family together, they have very similar ways of living and very similar techniques to survival. But they've also got very different ways of living. For the fact that the galahs out there flying with Andy out in Australia are considered a pest. They're considered a pest because there's hundreds of them. In fact, has anyone been to Australia? Yeah, did you see a galah? Of course you did. Because you look out your window and that's what you see. They're like a pigeon to you and I. Now I think if our pigeons looked more like those two, we'd love them a little bit more. But out in Australia, they're considered a pest because out in Australia, one of the biggest industries is farming. And what do galahs like to eat? But cereal and grain crops. So the farmers go along, they plant big fields of crops, and the galahs go along in their hundreds and eat it all, and destroying all their money and wasting all their time. So unfortunately they are considered to be a giant pest. But they are very common, and on the opposite end of the scale, Peanuts and Coco here are one of the rarest parrots in the world. And so they are very, very opposite. Some of the things they have in common are their beaks. So they've got very strong beaks, great for biting through things like nuts and seeds, and very, very powerful. Those beaks are used to help them climb around as well, so they use their beaks as well. And they've also got very good feet. So both sets of the parrots here have something called zygidactyl feet, and what that means is they have 2 toes at the front of their foot and 2 toes at the back of their foot. Feel lucky here to show you. Armadillo, what can I for? Now, what we have got is we're flying these birds as if they were bonded pairs, because in the wild, male and female bond for life in parrot species. That's not a parrot, okay. And in the wild, a male and female will bond for life and they fly around together. So you'll notice that Peanuts and Coco stay together. Sorry! Here I can, is it? Floss? Floss. Just stood on a parrot, live at Banham Zoo. You're okay. They're okay. But watch them, they stay in their pairs. Tony and Floss together. Peanuts and Coco together. Now they're not actually bonded pairs, either set. These two are 2 girls. And they're flying around together, they are sisters. Peanuts and Coco are like best friends. They're a little romance. We taught them to fly like this to show you what it looks like. But in the wild, a male and female would fly around side by side like these two, touching wingtips as they fly. It's like holding hands for you and I. Keeps their bond together. It means they don't get lost as they're flying through the rainforest. And if they do get lost, then they give out a very large alarm call. And that alarm call to you and I is a very loud scream, but to them it's a love call. It calls them back in case they get lost out there in the wild. Sandy and Floss, you've been great. They're just gonna go home with Andy. Sorry for standing on you, Floss. Please forgive me. There you go. But watch the macaws as they fly. They're going to cruise around for a little while along the air. They've got a much broader wingspan, and that's why in the rainforest it's very difficult for them to fly, which sounds ridiculous. But they fly above the canopies of the trees, like they're flying over your heads now. But when it comes to getting into the trees, that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult. Let them cruise around. As they're cruising around, let's have a little look at them. So this long tail that you can see as they fly, it's like a rudder in their flight. It's the way they steer. So they fan up the tail on the turns, and that's their brakes and their steering. It's also how they land. So when I put my arm out, they turn into the wind, they fan that tail out like a giant braking system, and actually slow themselves down for a very gentle landing. Coco's a professional. Peanuts needs a run-up. Now it's actually because he has a much tougher job. Thank you. He's got a much tougher job because not only does he have to land on my very small arm, but he also has to land between me and Coco. So he has a much tougher job on his hands. Now a lot of people ask us who's who when we have them on our hands. And the easiest way, and you just have to trust us, is that Coco always lands on my hands, Peanuts always lands in the middle. There you go. No one ever trusts me. So that is the way they land. If you have got a very keen eye though, macaws especially, have this pale white face, and they've got tiny little black feathers on that face. They're called lures. They're as individual to macaws as fingerprint is to us. So if you have got a very keen eye or a good camera, you'll be able to tell that their facial patterns are very different. And if you've got an even keener eye, look at Peanuts' head. got a bald spot. We don't tell him, he hasn't got a mirror, he's never seen it. But he got stung by a wasp about 17 years ago, and one of his feathers doesn't grow back. He's got a bald spot. So if you have got a keen eye, there are differences between them too. Okay, yeah, high four. Yeah, they've got fantastic feet. The reason they show their feet when we ask them to is because we like to do little vet checks on them, check their feet, check their wings for condition. And as you can see, they've got a very big beak, and I encourage no one to ever touch a parrot, because you will go home without a finger. So we've trained them to show their feet. When we ask them, if you ask Peanuts really nicely, he'll even show you his wings. Can you show them your wings? Coco, be nice. There they are. That way we can just check on those feathers without actually having to touch them. But they have been absolutely wonderful. They've done a great job flying around today. They've got a tricky wind, so very low flight coming your way. Good ducking. To a macaw, their feet are the lowest part of their body. They forget about the 2 foot long tail. Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, please, a big round of applause for our parrots. Now this is the crazy part of the show, where we're going to introduce you to a non-bird in a bird show. Might be the only place you see this species in a bird show ever. Pop your hand up though if you do want to leave. Does anyone want to head out and not see this random mammal species? Yeah, okay, that's great. Thanks, guys. That's really nice of you that you want to stay. Bear with us. Andy's run backstage. He's going to go and get this guy ready. He's new to the show. Raise your hands for me if you've been to an amazing animals display with us. Perfect. Welcome back, guys. So usually, for those of you who are new to these, here at Banham Zoo we do Birds of the World displays and amazing animals. Our amazing animal show is usually in our indoor theatre, which is just in the building behind us. Unfortunately, at the moment, protocols in place, we're not allowed to let you indoors. So what that means is we've retrained some of our animals out here. Now this animal, it's very interesting to have him inside because he runs very fast and he's in a contained building. And then we brought him out, we retrained him in a field. Which gets really interesting when this animal can run between 20 and 30 miles an hour. And if he really wants to, there's a really nice pond for him to swim in. So we've done a lot of training with him over lockdown and got him used to our outdoor arena. And we're quite excited to sort of introduce him to audiences. So you guys are one of very few audiences that have actually seen him in our outdoor show. Now, some of you I know what animal this is going to be. But you guys keep quiet, you guys know. Anyone want to have a guess as to what animal I might bring out? Someone said tiger on the way in, that's my favourite. Not bringing out a tiger. Go for it, guys. What do you think it might be? Hold on. Sorry, I'm really deaf. A ring-tailed lemur. These guys have seen the show before, so we have ring-tailed lemurs at our indoor show. It's not a ring-tailed lemur, because I'll get into really big trouble if one of those is out. You got a guess? Bonus points! Do you want to shout it really loud? No, should I shout? Armadillo! There you go. We have got armadillos here at the zoo. In fact, we've got 4 of them at the moment. We have got our male, his name is Pedro, and he's the one we're going to introduce you to in this demonstration. Now bear with him. It's very difficult to train an armadillo outside because armadillos rely on their sense of smell to get around, which is impressive, but as you can tell, it's not very easy to guide him using his smell. And he also uses his hearing to get around, and there's lots of new noises out here. We're going to introduce you to Pedro. He's our large hairy armadillo. Here he comes.
Oh my god.
Wow. Hello, buddy. Well done. He's great, isn't he? And he's learning to go around the arena. He goes under the ground because in the wild this is an animal that lives under the ground. Hang on, you didn't go all the way through. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's it. And then I'll get to the other end. Let's see if we can get him all the way through the tunnel. Pedro! It's a really long tunnel. Wow. He normally turns around and comes out the other end. Well done, buddy. So they live under the ground, armadillos, and out in South America where you find them in places like Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, they live